Hello and welcome to day 40 of our Lent 102 series. Today's topic is Jesus as he slept in the grave.
Morning star, morning star, we welcome you. He's the root and our offspring of David, the father and the son of the morning star.
Wow, we have reached day 40 in our Lenten journey, and what a glorious, what a magnificent 40 days it has been. I thank God for his grace, for being able to give us the strength to do these videos and to preach his word. But what I want to focus on is God's suffering, Christ's suffering for us. And the fact that there is, yes, he suffered, but there is joy in his death and there is joy in his life. And I think that we have been given one of the greatest gifts, to be honest, that I think anyone could ever receive. And that is the opportunity for everlasting life. That God would love the world so much that he would give his only begotten son so that we could live and have access to everlasting life. And for me, having access through God's work, through Christ's work on the cross, having access to everlasting life, also means having access to grace, having access to mercy, having access to favour, to peace, to blessings, to all of these beautiful things that we might not have had access to before. And I feel like when I think about the Lenten journey as a whole, it really makes me think that there is nothing that God has asked us to do that has been more severe, more treacherous, more long-suffering than somebody being sacrificed, than Christ being sacrificed to atone the world of their sins, to give the world an opportunity to say, yeah, Lord, I surrender to you and I give my life to you. I want to share with you 1 Peter chapter 3 verses 17 to 20. And it says, "For it is better, if the will of God be so, that ye suffer for well-doing than for evil-doing. For Christ also have once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring to God, being put to death in the flesh, but quickened by the Spirit. But which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison, which sometime were disobedient, when once the long-suffering of God waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was preparing, wherein few, that is 8 souls, were saved by water. It is better to suffer doing the will of God than to do evil." It is better because there's a verse in the Bible that says, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes early in the morning." And I'm encouraged by that because Christ actually, we've gone on a journey. We've gone on a journey where we've been able to reflect on all of the stuff that we've been taught. But then we've also been able to see Jesus at his most vulnerable moment, and to the point where he's like, "God, if it is possible, take this suffering from me. If there is any way that I can get out of this, help me get out of this. But at the same time, let your will be done." And I think it so speaks of the fact that I don't think there's much greater suffering. But I said earlier, there's also joy in that suffering. There's grace in that suffering. That Christ would die for us so that we could live, so that we could have access to all of these wonderful things, to grace, to mercy, to blessings, to favour. Actually, 3 things that I wanted to leave you with is that if there's anything I've learned or anything that I've reflected on during this 40 period, is that God speaks, God triumphs, and God saves. His word, what he says he will do, he literally does. He triumphs. He conquered the grave. He conquered the cross. He did what he was supposed to do, and he saved. And through that, he saved. So I would like you to be encouraged that, there is nothing we can do that can ever separate us from the love that is in Christ Jesus. So as we go on, as we prepare for Easter, as we prepare to celebrate the joy that is coming, the joy that is in the resurrection of Christ, I encourage you to to not forget about this journey, and to not forget about what it means to have someone die for you, to not forget about the fact that as Christians there is work for us to do. So yeah, I'm going to leave you with that. I pray that all of you have a wonderful, wonderful Easter. I pray that you dance like nobody's watching, and that you really get the opportunity to celebrate the joy that is in Christ's death, and the joy that is in Christ's life, Christ's resurrection. So thank you once again for tuning in to this 40-day journey. Until next time, thank you and God bless.